hey there. Hi, everybody. It's me, Zazoo Plazz. Listen, be a little classic. Well, it's a lot warmer. It's a lot colder than it was last week. Here it is, November 13th, 2022. Here I am. I got my hat. Broke out my adventurer hat. See? Then I got my L.O. Beans sweatshirt with my hoodie on. Gloves. These are my old running gloves. They're great because they're nice and thin, you know, and they have like the little things so you can use you can like, you know, do the touchpad. So they're very practical. It's kind of like me, you know. Got to be on the go and practical while I'm, you know, working on the brilliance. You have to be brilliant yet practical. That's the perfect combination to make things happen, right? And there's a plane, woohoo, taking off from Bradley Airport. It's about 20, 25 minutes north of where I am. Yay! Take it off! A nice plane. I don't know if you can even see that. Can you see the plane in the sky? The plane! You see that? I don't even know if you can see that. I don't know. I like to share it. It's pretty cool. Oh, it might be. Actually, it's going pretty low. I think it's coming in for a landing. Oh, it's coming in from Boston. Okay. So, wow. So, I'm really doing this. I'm really out here. This isn't just, you know, like a backdrop or a green screen. I'm actually out there in the school parking lot. Hello. Freezing my nose off. Okay, so today's Zazoo Plazz report is brought to you by the number 33, the band Technotronic. Remember them? 1989. You gotta move this. You gotta move it. You know, remember that song? Yeah, it's about time to hear the jam is pumping. You know that one? Ding, 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 ding. Okay, that's enough. Yeah, and wow, see, that's the song. So what's happening now is I read the gospel readings for, you know, and the readings for the week, and I let it soak in. And as I'm reading the Psalms or the responsorial or the gospel or whatever, or, you know, from when I used to go to church, these like songs, these pop songs pop in my head, and then I'm like, wow, that's perfect. So today it's the 33rd Sunday, and I mean, it's not like I planned this all ahead of time. I go to the Bible readings first, and then I said, okay, 33, and then the song pops in my head because, you know, it's not in the Bible. Technotronic isn't in the Bible. You know? You've got these two worlds, right, that used to never talk to each other. Like, you know, you'd go to church, and like my husband, and you're sitting there, and, you know, the organ plays the song, and everybody stands up, and you gotta sing their music, you know. And I thought, back when I was a little kid, I wasn't even going to talk about this, but when I was, you know, birth to 10, they said, you know, a lot of the baby boomers, they were, you know, dropping out of church. They were, you know, going and protesting and, you know, whatever they were doing. And the church wanted to get them back. So they started doing like folk masses, you know. Like everybody looked like Stevie Nicks, and it's like peace and love, kumbaya, and all this stuff. And that's what I grew up with like people playing the guitar in church, and the piano and all this stuff. And so all those songs were the songs that they played in church when I was, a little kid. From, late 60s, my parents, would bring me to church, and I'd be all dolled up in my, my hand-me-down cousin's coat with the matching hat. Didn't fit her anymore. And, like, picturing me standing next to the gray Buick, my parents' car when they had me. I used to sit, you'd throw me in the back seat, bounce around like a ping pong ball, pew, 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 because, we didn't wear seat belts or car seats or anything. And then, having made it to church successfully, they'd, take me out and take me in with them, I didn't have a choice back then. But, I soak everything up. Take pictures and stuff. But, yeah, so I learned a lot. And like I was kind of talking about last week, you get to this point, I'm looking out the window in my bedroom, and there's like that one, there's that one leaf hanging on, right? There's that one brave, like, brown leaf. It's like, ha, ha, I'm the last one standing. I made it. Bob, I made it, Bob. Bob? Somebody did that routine. I forget who it was. Maybe it was Seinfeld or somebody else. But yeah. So it's not. I didn't just make that up. But I thought of it the other day. Well, I did kind of just think of it. I know it's been done, but yeah, it's that you look out and you see that one brave leaf is just hanging on there. It's waving in the wind, defiant. And I thought, I love that leaf. I relate to that leaf. Because I've often thought, when you're a survivor type, that's what you do. You hang out there in the wind and you go, woo! I made it! Because you're going down. The next gust of wind is going to wipe you off that tree. But for the moment, you're hanging on with white knuckles. My mother used to say, she said, she was, not overly religious, but she used to say that this was before, we had the lockdown and she couldn't go to church for 2 years. But, she would go regularly and she'd say, they're going to have to pry my white knuckles off the door to the church. I don't think she meant the church exactly. And I think what she meant to say was her faith was that strong. Her faith was, in other words, the figurative, her beliefs, she was white-knuckled when it had to do with her beliefs. She would, she had this death grip on them, right? And the world was changing. And that's, I sometimes think of that, I was thinking today about my younger guy, he's 19 now. And I was looking through some pictures and I saw him as a babe, as a little guy, until he started, for the longest time, I don't know, he might have been in grammar school. He had this, somebody gave him a little bear when he was born. It's a little sandy colored bear. My older son, he never had like a toy, like a stuffed toy. he had a bunch of them, but he wasn't he was more the type that wanted to be held when he was a baby and swaddled and cuddled and, but he never, like, had a favorite toy, like a favorite stuffed toy. But this guy, he had this little guy. I think my mom gave it to him. Sandy-colored, little rat of a thing, not that big. He named it Sam. And everywhere that kid went, Sam went with him. Sam was his constant companion, And God help us, if Sam was missing, he couldn't go to sleep. Sam had to be, in his little, clutch. He had a death grip on Sam. And then when he got a little bit older, he and his brother, he'd like throw Sam up on the roof of the garage. And my husband would have to go up there and get him. Because nobody was going to go to sleep that night unless, But he'd started, from first he'd he'd say, I can't find Sam. And then usually you'd find him behind the bed, stuffed between the wall and the bed, or under the mattress, or, he started getting really creative about where he would, hide Sam, make us go for him. But, Sam went everywhere. He'd go in the backyard. We find Sam at the top of the slide in the back, We find him up in the tree. Yeah, the farthest, I think. And then he went on vacation. Of course he did. He had Sam in the suitcase, So, I guess it's all kind of related, isn't it? It's that tendency we have to just white knuckle cling on the leaf, the last leaf on the tree. Look at me! I won! It's like that guy in the Vegas Vacation movie, right? He's like 90 something or whatever. The Griswolds go to Vegas and they're sitting there at the Keno. They got their tickets, and the guy's talking to Chevy Chase, and he says, Clark Griswold, and he's telling him about, I had a tough life, and I lost my wife, and I lost my family, and this and that happened, and then, so he kind of goes, and so, oh no, first, they announced the numbers, and Clark's like, I didn't win, and the guy's like, I won the lottery, I won the money, and then he goes, and he dies, and then he comes, and he goes, I won the money, and then he goes. So, in the end, he gives Clark the money, I guess, he was the only friend the guy had. The end of his life was pretty sad, Clark Griswold took a minute to listen to him, to hear him, to see him. Look at me, I lived. I got the money. So, what was I saying? Oh, so that's the vibe this week. I find it's like you finally, the thing that you have the death grip on, that lotto ticket, that thing that just makes you feel alive. It makes you feel like you exist. It makes, it gives you peace, right? You can go to sleep knowing you have that thing. When you're a kid, of course, you need, sometimes, you need a little something, I used to have a Raggedy Ann. I didn't really hug her. I wasn't a huggy kind of kid, but I did have my stuffed animals, and I would line them up. And I'd line them up in my room, and I would talk to them. I would do the Zazoo report. All my dollies, and my Humpty Dumpty, and my, I had a Humpty Dumpty. And I had, all my stuffed animals, and they would sit there with their bright eyes, and they'd watch me, and that was my thing. I used to, talk to them. I would do stand-up. They were the best audience, just like you guys. So, it's it's like life, you know. This is the time of year. It's like nothing can make it's song. Nothing can make this one stop. It's about time. It's about time is one of the lyrics. Yeah, we get to this time of the year. It's about time. It's about time you get off your, you know, off your chair and get up and move this, right? Move it. It's a fiery message. It's like fire, you know, fire. You know, people burning leaves. People, we're going towards Sagittarius. Things are starting to move into Sagittarius, which is a fire sign. But it's more about, you know, party. It's like, you know, move. It's like party. But Sagittarius can get a little preachy, you know. It can like so, you know, it's like you know, nature. Rivers are clapping and the mountains are shouting for joy. That it's interesting because that's exactly that's something that we can go to and look toward. We can go out to nature and we can see that, like us, nature, you know, the leaves are dancing, you know, the rivers are clapping. They, you know, the water, it hits upon the shore and it comes back, right? And the mountains shouting for joy. The mountains reaching to the sky, going, yeah, look at me. You know? But everything is doing its thing, right? Mind your own business. Stay in your own lane, right? The trees don't look over and see what that tree is doing or that tree. They just do their thing, right? They're not looking to see what that kind of tree is doing or that tree over there. They're all just doing their thing. Squirrels aren't, you know. It's funny, my younger, well, both sons came home this weekend. And we learn. He comes home, well, the younger one, he comes home first from college. And he's working at the kitchen table, having my breakfast. And he's like, Mom, look. And he's got this little lab book, you know. He's majoring in environmental science. He's like, I said, oh, you know, he's doing a lab. And he had to go out and sit, you know, at Yukon in Storrs, Connecticut. They have a beautiful lake. They've got, you know, woods all around. It's beautiful. They got cows. They got dairy farms and all this. So he had to go out and he had to pick an animal to observe. You know, he's got his little book, and he watched a squirrel. He watched a squirrel, and he's got all these columns, and he had to observe the behavior of the squirrel, you know, and do like a little graph and how much of the time, you know, squirrels are foraging and socializing and playing and, you know, all this. And he had to graph it and do this thing. And then he did water samples and, you know, all this other stuff. I was so proud of him. But, you know, he's teaching me things. I know this stuff. I knew environmental science kind of from a communication standpoint, because I used to work for the state, you know, protection agency. So I knew things at more of a general level, you know. But he's learning at detailed stuff, which is fascinating. I love that. And I learned all of that statistical stuff, but in business school, he's becoming a real scientist. He's always been curious, you know. That's the fire. Fire is you know, there's a curiosity. You know, what we wanna go out and we wanna not just observe, but we wanna, you know, create. We wanna do something, you know, new, right? And so we wanna give testimony. We want to find things out and then tell people about it. Say, oh, I can't wait to tell you, this is what I found. You know, as a kid, I would love, you know, I got 3 planets and multiple planets in Sagittarius. So I have like a stellium, which means, you know, there's a lot of energy in that Sagittarius fire that wants to know a lot of stuff. You know, and it kind of, sometimes it gets a little preachy because it wants to, act like it's, it knows better than you. But I'm, but what you have to do, yes, bear witness, give testimony, shout with joy like the mountains. Blast your trumpets. Just do your dance. Don't be distracted by everybody else's dance. Just do your dance, and keep doing it. So it's not about being accepted or popular or even pretty, It's about nourishing yourself with what makes you come alive. If it's dancing, do a little dance. Nobody's gonna dance like you. No two squirrels. I bet if you observe two different squirrels at the same time, they're going different, right? No two squirrels. If they're the same animals, right? They have all the same equipment. And this time of year, they're probably doing more foraging than the other stuff. But still, if you watch that one squirrel, you'll find that it has its own energy, its own quirks, Who knows? That's why we watch nature as the best teacher. We're still finding it. We're still exploring the skies. We're still finding. My husband just told me. He just texted me, "Hi there." He bought my butternut squash for the soup that I'm not going to have time to make, but whatever. So he's a market type of person. He likes to go out there and, get stuff and bring it home. That's his thing. I'd rather have people bring it to me. It's about time. Drum on, babe. Rhythms blast. Shake that body. No one can make this one stop, right? So you gotta use what you got. You gotta, like when I was growing up, my mom, she taught me how to, and she had this great skill for, say, okay, maybe it was the day before she went grocery shopping, or maybe she just didn't know what to make for dinner, but she'd have some kind of noodles, and she'd go in and she had a little bit of leftover chicken or beef, and she'd put that in, and then she'd put the noodles, vegetables, and just lying around, and she'd make this wonderful dish from, I don't know, and I can do that now, but she had a special gift for, she would like wave her magic wand, and but if you put my dad in charge, he'd open a can of beans and throw a couple of hot dogs in the microwave, or just, there you go, kid. He wasn't too creative with the food. He would, he could feed himself and stuff, but he's not gonna spend all, it didn't give him that, I don't know, sense of excitement that my mother would. She would be proud. She was proud of, and toward the end when she couldn't eat, she would still get that feeling of nurturing others through helping my dad make his food. She'd still cook for him even though she couldn't eat it. She had a tube connected to her stomach. She was getting liquid, pumped in there because she couldn't swallow stuff. But she would, make him eggplant parmesan or something. I'd go over, I'm like, what is she doing? He said, well, she likes to do it. He lets her do it. He let her do it because she enjoyed it. That's the thing. If you don't feel like doing it, it doesn't light you up, then you shouldn't have to do that stuff. You should just do the stuff that makes you happy, that you're born to do, right? Otherwise, you're going to be grouchy, and you're going to... So I wouldn't go over there expecting my dad to, make the Thanksgiving dinner, and, But he knows how to make sweet potato casserole. And he wants to make a sweet potato casserole, so he'll make that. I'll make my pumpkin pies, and now that my oldest son, he's the food snob. He comes over, and he brings apple crisp that he made, and he's like, "Oh, Mom, I used Jonah Gold apples. They really make a nice apple crisp." And we're like, "I can't believe it." He made the topping, and he brought ice cream and everything. And we're like, "Holy cow, this kid's good." He's a Virgo, right? He keeps starting computer app companies, and he's got his full-time job, and he cooks, and he's happy. That's what he does. He wouldn't be happy going out foraging in the woods watching squirrels like the other one. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, so the number 33, it's the 33rd week of the liturgical year, and that song, Move This, was released on November 28th, 1989, which is 33 years ago, and it got to number 33 on the year-end Billboard chart in the U.S. I'm like, oh man. So this is what I do. This is how I move it. I go out in the woods and tell people about stuff that they didn't know that they cared about or didn't care about or whatever. But it's like the way my mom used to make a mystery stew. That's what I do with all this stuff that I learned, I throw it all in a big pot, stir it together, and it's good. It sustains me. Nobody's telling me to do it. I just do it because it comforts me. It's my Sammy. And I'll hang on to my Zazoo report and my Zazoo writings with white knuckles, like that leaf on the tree. That's my thing. Pump the jam, pump it up. Okay. Technotronic was from Belgium. Didn't know that. But yeah, the number 33 turns out it's about balance, creativity, communication. So I have Sag, a million planets in Sag, in my third house. Third house is often overlooked by astrologers because it's like, if the first house is about you when you're born, and the second house is about your stuff. The third house is like when you go out the door and you go to kindergarten, and you're starting to know your neighbors and your neighborhood and your brothers and sisters and your cousins and blah 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 and everybody. It's kind of where people feel like when they come home. They come home for Thanksgiving. It's homecoming. It's that hometown feeling. That's where that's my south node. That's what I'm trying to move out of. I'm trying to move out from my hometown and go up to my north node, which is up in Gemini, my ninth house. So I want to go and, move to where I'm meeting and dealing with a lot of different ideas and, I'm the writer, but, you got to start somewhere. These are the skills that I bring. These are the skills so 33 also has to do with lessons, patience, and keep staying in your own lane, keeping your own business private, which is sometimes hard for me, and trusting yourself and staying strong in what you stand for. And not making impulsive decisions, which is also kind of hard for me because I live to make impulsive decisions. That's where all my best stories come from. But I am capable of, looking at all the information, making an informed decision. There's a slice of apple crisp, warm apple crisp with maybe frozen yogurt or yogurt calling my name. Yeah. isn't it? Okay, so I'm going to move this inside. And till next week, that's been the Zazoo Report. So, stay warm, and I don't know what's going on for Thanksgiving. I'm not making that whole dinner. I can orchestrate it. I have to be very creative this year. But anyway, so until next week, Zazoo Plazz, signing out. Stay warm, and yeah, move around. That way you can keep warm, and work off all the food you're going to have on Thanksgiving. Start training for that road turkey race you're going to do. I'm not doing that one this year. I write about it in that book, The Audacious Adventures of Zazoo Plazz. See you next week. Bye-bye.